and welcome to Sullivan's Farm. The weather is just cat melogian at the moment. It's raining all the time, or it's raining every night, and then it's mild during the day, I suppose, which is a good thing, but at the same time it's just adding to the confusion. We're into that time of the year now where we're trying to get into the winter routine a little bit, and every day is kind of changing as the routine kind of changes, as the weather changes, and the cattle do this, that and the other thing, and the calves do something else. But sure, look, we'll have a look at a few bits and pieces. The first thing I suppose we'll have a proper look is to see the feed barriers and the gates in the new shed have been put in at long last, and there's even a few cattle inside there. They're not really supposed to be there, but there was a bit of silage left there when we picked out the 6 that went to the factory the other morning. So rather than trying to lift it over with the tractor and loader again, I just left a few cattle across there to just for them to eat it. So instead of bringing the silage to them, I brought them to the silage. It is all about the efficiencies. But that's it. We'll have a closer look. The man came on, was it Thursday, a couple of hours, and it was an absolute pleasure to see him going about his job, doing the various bits and pieces there, like the simple things like we see it there, the bolt. And we hung the gates on the back wall so that they can swing a particular way. Now I won't be able to show you that when the cattle are in there, but these were just bolted into the wall, and the same at the bottom. And we see it there. What we don't have at the moment, and I was asking on Twitter, and I'm asking here again, if anybody has any advice as to where the best place for the water troughs is, I'd be all ears to hear your suggestions. A couple of people said because it's straw bedded, don't dream of putting the water troughs at the back of the shed, because like when they leak, and it's only a matter of when, not if, then they'll make an awful mess. So I was thinking of putting them at the front someplace, and then a couple of people said put them outside the feed barrier altogether, which is safer again. Any suggestions you have would be more than welcome. At the moment, before there's a decision made, I have half a blue barrel, and I'm just filling it with a hose. But look, these aren't really supposed to be here. They're only here for a couple of hours yesterday and a couple of hours today. They'll be going back into the cubicles to the rest of them in the next half hour, or whenever the next hour, couple of hours, whenever the last bit of silage is cleared up. So that's kind of it. There's another gate here on the shed as well, so that'll give us access. There's a gate halfway down. We might step into the shed there in a second, you might get a better look, but there's a gate. One of the barriers is a gate to allow easy access to the top part, the top half of the shed. And then this dividing gate here that just divides it into 2. Really, we could have done with a third gate to make 2 single span divisions and 1 2-span division. But sure, look, we'll, like everything, like the water, we'll play it all by ear and kind of figure it out as we go along, rather than committing to a particular design and then having to change it later. We'll kind of let the thing take its own shape, and when the cattle kind of show where the water should be and we figure out what way they should be divided up, then we can go with that. So we'll go in, we'll have a closer look anyway. These then are the barriers themselves in place. As I said, it's 4 spans. So here's the first span down to here, and then this is the one I was showing you a second ago. This is the gated one. Tractor's in the way there now, but that'll allow easier access to the far upside of the thing. There's the couple of cattle we were looking at earlier. There's the dividing gate, and there's another gate down below to let them in and out that way as well. And I suppose the whole idea is that when we're cleaning the dung out of it, it'll be much easier to get access in and out through the 2 gates. Both of them are hung on the back walls. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to sort out the water. A couple of bales of straw ready for the weanlings whenever they come in, but I don't think they'll be coming in as soon as was originally planned. Where the weanlings are at the moment, we'll go down and see them. I showed you the last evening. They're out in the far off knock, and they're as happy as Larry down there. They're the most content animals. It's wet underground, but there's plenty grass. They're getting 1 kilo of cubes, and they're getting a nice little bit of barley straw as well to help them, and they're happy out. So they'll have another week or 2 at least down there. Then there's a few fields across from the shed here, all going well, we'll get them grazed off. And then, and only then, will they go out on the rapeseed. And it's looking like it'll be closer to Christmas before they get out there, which means, yeah, we need to come up with a new plan. But we'll go down and have a look at them down there anyway, and we'll show you how happy they are. They'll probably start bawling when we go down, but sure, look, they're happy to see me. When the man was here putting up the feed barrier the other day, he did a bit of tidying on this temporary feed barrier too. I was tying this with a bit of a rope, or 2 bits of rope, but he welded on those bits there and gave me a chain, so that's a lot more secure. And then, go back, and then there's a big heifer. And then on this side, he just welded a couple of pieces of angle iron there as well. I think it's angle iron, I don't know. I sleep a lot easier now when I know there's metal holding the feed barrier and the gate in place and a chain, rather than the ropes and the knots that I was using. And to see the man in action the other day using the welder was an absolute pleasure. He knows his stuff and he has the right tools, and he just knew what he was doing. And I guess it's kind of helped convince me that I need a welder. So I've told herself, if I'm good between now and Christmas, Santi might bring me a welder. The man the other day recommended a Cobra welder, I think it was called. It's just something to get me going at the start. I used to make our own feed troughs and different bits and pieces, gates and that, when we had the sheep. And I like the woodwork and that side of using my hands to make bits and pieces. But obviously cattle don't really respect timber in the same way that sheep do. So it has to be metal from here on. So hopefully there'll be a few little engineering, welding projects in the next while. I've already come up with a list of stuff that needs to be done, so I can justify getting the welder for myself. So again, the man the other day recommended the Cobra welder to get us going. But if you had any other suggestions, I'd be happy to Google those as well. So yeah, sure, look. We're going out now to have a quick look at the happiest animals in the place, despite being out in the wet. And just the meal being reminded me there, I've picked out the next 4 cattle that will be finished maybe the week before Christmas, I think, based on my estimates of what they should be when they're sold, and how much weight they'll put on between now and then, and what weight they were when we weighed them last month. But I'm going to give these ones, as I said in the video the other evening, cubes or meal or a ration, a finishing ration. And what a guy I've an awful lot of time for, I kind of know through boards.ie, suggested was that I would give them a 50-50 mix of rolled barley and maize. So pricing that and locating that is the next thing now. I know rolled barley is fairly easy to get around these parts, around Waterford and the southeast, but I suppose if anybody knows where to pick up either big bags of maize or the small bags of maize, again, throw it into the comments below or let me know. Just as we're walking out to the weanlings, this is the near knock, just kind of wet. But the first 6 cattle went yesterday morning, and haven't got the sheet back from the factory yet, but I'm hoping they wouldn't be far off the 250, 260 kg mark, dead weight. So we go from there. There was a price agreed the other evening when the man called. And yeah, I'd be happy enough with them for animals that didn't get any cubes or any meal before they went out the gate. I was happy enough with that. So the next 4 I've picked out are 3 limousine heifers and 1 whitehead heifer. And I guess I picked them out based on what they weighed before, what they're gaining at the moment. Hopefully that's a kilo a day they're still gaining, and maybe even a little bit more when we give them that mixed ration that I was talking about. And I'm working back, say, from the limousine heifers. killing them at maybe 550 kgs, and the whitehead heifer at 520. And based on that, then I'm kind of trying to estimate which are closest and which to start feeding, so that there's kind of about a 6-week period there where they get those cubes, that meal, that ration. We'll see how they go. I'll know more when the kill sheet comes back for the first 6 that went the other day. So we'll head on out here to the far out knock now. There they are. Happiest animals in the place. After myself. I'm taking it as a good sign. They're not eating as much of the straw as they were when they were out in the near knock. They're coming over now. They think they're getting fed again, but they're still getting the kilo a day in the troughs. They're still eating that away mad. And just have a quick look at them here now. They're standing up because I'm disturbing them. But yeah, they are the happiest animals. This is the field I was talking about the last day. Like it's kind of tucked away from the rest of the world, and it's sheltered the whole way around. All they can hear is the world in the distance, and just get on with it. The rain is getting a bit heavier as I was walking out, so I took a shortcut, or I'm taking a shortcut through forestry. This is alder we planted in 2008. It's worked out well for us. I'll probably do a better or a whole video on the forestry at some future stage, or maybe the next one. But yeah, it's worked out so far so good for us, and we haven't taken any thinnings out of this just yet. I think the last time I asked somebody about it, the forestry guy was saying it's only when the canopy closes fully, and I think it's probably getting to that stage now. So we'll have to start thinking about doing something with this, taking out thinnings in the next year or two. But as I said, I'll do a full video on it. I just wanted to show you a quick look as I was walking through it now. So it's lovely and picturesque anyway this time of the year, and there's always a nice little cover of grass as well. So the sheep used to come in here, and look, I think the odd bullock still sticks his head in every now and again as well. So that's my life at the moment: cattle, shade and weanlings, and lots of rain. Thanks a million for watching and for liking and subscribing and all that carry on. And hopefully it's not too wet where you are, or if it is, you're in out of it. You're not doing nothing silly, pulling and dragging with bits of silage and bales falling apart out in the rain. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck.